Hi, I just watched a very interesting video on Charleroi, Pennsylvania, learned a few new things, so I want to share that with you. And this was on Nick Johnson's YouTube channel. It's about an hour-long video, but he goes to Charleroi. Oh, by the way, Charleroi, Pennsylvania, this is the town. Small town, population of 4,000 people, and within the past few years, they were inundated with 2,500 Haitian migrants who they're being told, many of whom are on this temporary humanitarian, like work authorization thing. So he goes to this town and interviews a lot of the residents, interviewed a few Haitians actually, just to see what's going on. So I'm going to highlight some of the things that I found interesting. So he interviews this guy. So this is a Haitian immigrant. He speaks English. He's actually really nice. He's here on that. He's here on work authorization. He paid for his own plane ticket to fly from Haiti to here. He got his cousin that lives in Charleroi to sponsor him. So he lives with his cousin. He does work. Here, I'll show you some of his documents. But he shared his documents. So that's his travel authorization. He's legally authorized to work. He showed his pay stub, but that was in a different thing. But he does receive a little bit of benefits. It's not a lot. It's not the amount that you've heard some people receiving, but he is getting benefits, and that's what he gets right there. He was asked if other people are getting a lot more benefits. He said that he didn't know. But again, this is just one person, and he does have his driver's license, and we're going to get into that in a moment because the question of are they able to vote? Will they be voting? Was definitely asked, and I have some interesting information on that, which I learned today. But another question was, how are they receiving benefits, and how are you explaining some of these large balances that we're hearing about? So Nick actually spoke to a local welfare worker, and this is what he's telling us that she told him.
Worker who works here in Washington County, PA. And she said it's actually pretty easy to commit welfare fraud. All you got to do is go online, fill out a form, and say that you live in a place and you're homeless. And within days or a week or two, you start getting money in your account, go straight to your phone. She told me you can even do it from Haiti. Rack up a bunch of money from different states, Illinois, Ohio, Michigan, Pennsylvania, doesn't matter. There's nobody to track it. They all know how to do it. It's crazy. And then I asked her about, there's huge sums of money. Like some of these Haitians have like big balances on their EBT. And she said, actually, there are some agencies that can access that EBT and add money to it. We can't. I can see it's on there. I don't know who's putting money on there.
Do with that information what you will. There's also the question about voting and if people are going to be eligible to vote. This has been a huge question. And before we get to that, we're going to have to talk about the driver's licenses because that may tie in to the voting in Pennsylvania if that is possible, but we really don't know for sure. Even still, even talking to a local politician, Nick, in that video, the politician couldn't say definitively. At first he said, no, they won't be voting. And then he said, well, so we do know that first of all, that person had a driver's license, and we do know that a lot of Haitian immigrants are obtaining driver's licenses, and somehow they're doing this despite not understanding English, despite clearly not really understanding our driving laws. We've had a lot of accidents. That's one of the things that you're hearing in a lot of these towns are just the absurd amount of traffic accidents. And that's why they're happening because in Haiti, the ratio to having a car is 3 to 1,000. They walk to work. They don't drive. That's not a normal thing. So obviously they're not going to understand our driving laws. Now where this bothers me is obviously it's a safety issue. And I remember, I don't know about you, when I was a teenager, I had to study that horrible book of all the driving rules. I had to go and I had to take the driving test with someone that graded me, proving that I understood everything. And I had to take a computer test on my own that asked me all about the signs and the laws. So it is my opinion that if you cannot do that on your own, if you need someone to translate all of that for you, How are you going to be able to drive safely once you're actually on the road? That's my question, because that's what's happening. And it seems like they're obtaining these driver's licenses very, very easily. So how are they doing that? And is someone assisting them in doing that? So how that ties into the voting is the question of, if you have a driver's license, are you automatically eligible to vote even though you're not technically a US citizen? Well, in September of 2023, it says PA will now prompt people to register to vote when they get a driver's license. And this was passed by Josh Shapiro, the Democratic governor of Pennsylvania. And it says, under the new system, which goes into effect today, residents obtaining new or renewed driver's licenses and ID cards will respond to questions to complete or update their voter registration unless they opt out. So you have to physically opt out of it. And here's my question. So it says, the governor noted that residents interacting with the DMV already provide proof of identity, residency, age, and citizenship. Okay, well, that Haitian immigrant, he is not technically a citizen. He just has that temporary status. Is that temporary status in the system giving them like a temporary citizenship? You see what I'm saying? Because technically, we keep being told that the people a part of this program are legal. They're not illegal. So do they have temporary citizenship? Because the governor just said you can't interact with a DMV unless you have a citizenship. Well, they're getting driver's licenses. So there's that.